All right, everyone. Welcome back to the Coyote Radio Show and podcast. We got a great guest today, and I'm super thrilled to have him. It's been a minute since we've had him. Actually, it's been about a year. We've had Casper Allen on the show. We're kind of hanging out, shooting the shit, talking about the upcoming year and what to expect. I do want to mention he's coming to town here in Dukes, Indy on February 6th with Matt Heckler and the Hill Country Devil. Gonna be a great time. Grab your tickets. Links below. And I'll let the cat out of the bag here. All three of these artists I just mentioned will be at Pickin in the Backwoods this August. That's 7th, 8th, and 9th. Mark your calendars. Tickets will be available soon. But they're all coming. We got like 2.5 days worth of music. Bring your own beer, camping, the whole deal. It's going to be a blast. So I can't wait. Especially with this cold weather right now. I can already picture myself hanging out by the bonfire, uh, jamming out. But mark your calendars for that. And the other big news is Casper's going to be playing full band. So that's awesome. And I won't spoil it. You guys just listen to the interview, and it's not even an interview. Just listen to us BS and hang out. And he's talking about everything that's going to be happening. But before we do that, I do got to give it up to the sponsors. We got Bard Distillery. Thank you so much for supporting this podcast. They are amazing down there in Muhlenberg. Great people, great bourbon. Um, can't say enough good about Kim and Tom. And like I said, great people. Check out the link below and visit them sometime. If you're on that bourbon trail, go see them. We got Duke's Indy. Of course, they've been by my side. Then we got Jam Nation. So, hell of a lineup. Go check out all these guys. They love music and just like we do. So, all right, I think I'm done rambling. Let's go talk to Casper and see what 2025 has in store. So, all right, everyone, welcome back. We got another one here, the Coyote Radio Show and Podcast. We got Casper Allen with us, man. I think it was a year, oh, damn near almost a year last time you were
Yeah,
on.
pretty close. I think it was like February or something of last year.
Yeah, so anyone that didn't hear that, you could go back and kind of listen to the beginnings of his music and how he got into it and so forth. But right now, we're going to be talking more about current stuff, like for the 2025 year. He's got a big year planned, and we'll go ahead and just say it. I'm wearing the hat right now. He's playing Pickin in the Backwoods this year
Yeah.
in August, full band.
Oh yeah.
I'm super pumped, dude.
We might even have a pianist with us at that time.
Oh shit.
Right. Right now it's just a three-piece, but we're actively looking for an organ slash piano player to fill it out. And then in the studio we've got horns and all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Some pedal steel.
Then and we also got to definitely say that the they're coming through for the Duke's Indie show on February 6th.
Yep, that's gonna be a blast. That'll be the first show. We're gonna do some test runs, like unannounced kind of secret show things in Wyoming at the end of this month that we'll announce like a day or two before. But that'll be like the first tour date with the band, which is exciting.
Oh, I thought
Yeah.
you were coming solo. I didn't know.
No, I'll have the band there in Indy too. And we're doing, yeah, it's going to be a ripper.
Heck yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. And in Cincy the next day, right? Or Newport at Southgate House, which is, I've never been on my own. I've only been with Lost Dog, but I love that place. It's a great venue.
Yeah, I do too.
Oh, man. You want to say hi? You want to say hi, buddy? Say
Oh
hi,
yeah.
Clyde. Say hi, boys. He said, Dad, do you see what's happening to the Vikings right now? They're having a meltdown.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So heck yeah, man. Well, let's see, what was that? It wasn't that long ago. I saw you at the Monarch in Louisville
Month ago, maybe?
a month or so ago, and
2 months ago.
that's when you were telling me you're going to start doing some full band stuff and um, having records and music coming out, recording
Yeah,
with full bands. And
we finished the whole album last week. I got a horn section that I got to get in Denver. But me and the boys went up to Ten Sleep, Wyoming, which is pretty far up there in northeastern Wyoming, and we got up there and to this cabin, couple cabins, but it was just me, Sean Hess, who's playing bass for me, and then my buddy Cooper, who's playing drums, who's like young, super hungry. He's a really fucking good drummer, and we went up there, just us and our engineer, and with a bunch of tapes and cassette tapes, and we did everything, and we got 13 inches of snow day one. And then we were running the house off a generator. The pipes are frozen for the winter. So we were shitting in buckets and and, and chopping wood, and we got it done. And I'm so excited about what we did up there. So we
Yeah.
finished all the basic tracking, and then I just did pedal steel overdubs in Denver with my steel guy, and everything else is live in the studio, the cabin, or in Sean's trailer in the trailer park in Wyoming, or and then there's just some steel and horns that were not tracked live, but everything else is live. The tape, the singing, which was a pain in the butt. Hank, can you stop, dude? Um, yeah, so I'm really excited about that, though. It's gonna be should be a pretty good. I'm really proud of this record more than anything I've ever put out. It's a lot less. There's sad stuff, but it's not like slit your wrists, quiet.
Yeah.
There's a lot more. There's a wider array of emotions. There's some happier stuff too, which is there's a lot of love songs, which is ironic because I'm going through divorce, but there's a lot of like lovey-dovey stuff, and there's a love song for my daughter, and it's definitely way different. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, your live show then will have encompass it all then, which is
I'm gonna
great.
take a little. There's gonna be a spot in the middle of the show where I do probably paper ships by myself, and then towards the end, right before the final crazy finish, I'm gonna do another acoustic song, maybe two, and then the band comes back up and we go fucking full bore. It's definitely I'm playing an electric guitar for a lot of it, which is will probably be I was when I was at the Dylan movie, I got out and Sean asked me. I was on the phone with Sean. He was like, "What'd you think of it?" Because I think everyone that knows me knows that I'm like really into Dylan, like invested, and and everyone was like, "Are you gonna see it?" I'd planned to go on Christmas, and then I was traveling, so I didn't go on Christmas. And then by the time I finally saw it, Sean was like, "Well, what'd you think about it?" And I was like, man, I hope we don't piss off everybody when we go electric this spring.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's I don't know. We'll see. I think it's still, I mean, it's still me. It's still a lot of the singing is still like, oh, like so. I don't know. It probably just won't be as like depressing to sit through. There's stuff you can actually dance to, like a lot of it, and it maybe won't be so. I think like what I've been doing, the solo thing. I love doing it. I will go back to it at some point, but it's really hard on me um, mentally to get back into that place every night, which is not like a particularly fun place to be. Um, and like all those songs are about like the absolute worst moments in my life. Uh,
Yeah.
and so it's kind of taxing. And then like I think for people that are really into that stuff, they love it and it's great and they'll come back every time. But I think for a lot of other folks, it's a little bit much to sit through an hour of just really sad dude with guitar music. And I kind of branched out from it this year where I was, mixing my setup a little more, but it's a lot. Uh, and this stuff, I'm like really excited. It's been this last year was pretty rough and or the second half of it, and so it'll be nice to play some more upbeat uplifting material for the next 9 months. um, and yeah, I'm not doing any solo touring this year except I'm hopefully if we can work out the kinks. I'm dealing with some passport issues right now, but I think Sean and I are going to go solo to Europe in the end of the summer and play, a couple weeks of shows in Europe, and then figure out how we can afford to take the band there next year. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm excited. I've haven't toured with a band and since I had a fan base for sure. I haven't toured with a band since I was pretty young. I would say the last time I was probably 25 or 6. And yeah, I'm excited to see people's reaction. And it's so much fun to play music with your friends. Like, it's
Oh
just
yeah.
the best feeling on earth. Like, and yeah, this band was just like, I kept trying different combinations of people in Denver and Nashville and a bunch of spots. And just every time, like, it was like forced and I didn't enjoy myself. It wasn't coming out the way that I heard it in my head. And then Sean was like, why don't you just come demo some stuff on the tape machines at my house? It's like, yeah. And I was like, you know any drummers? He was like, yeah, that kid Cooper that you met, because I played a show with him. He's a songwriter too. And he was like, yeah, he's a fucking incredible drummer. And so he came out for like 2 days. And we were at Sean's place and we had a show the first night, just us solo. And we recorded all day, us three and Sean's buddy Ruben that he grew up with, who runs the tape machines and lives in New Orleans now. He just happened to be there, and we got like 4 songs done in maybe 12 hours. Like I showed it to the band, and like as soon as I walked in the room and we played one song, I was like, "Oh yeah, this is it." Like we did that Natural Seven song I sent you. We maybe played it twice, and then the third time is what you'll hear on the record, and it was just so easy and like right, I guess. And then
Hell yeah.
we've had to work a little harder since then, but yeah, it just feels good. And then Sean's already been opening for me on pretty much every I like having him more than anyone else as my opener. So he's been on just about every tour I've been going on. And hey, guys, back up. And
Sean's a hell of a writer too, man. I think
oh
he's
my
great.
God, he's my favorite writer in the country right now. He's just absolutely nuts, and he hanging out with him and touring with him had a pretty big impact on my writing. He's just really, I tend to be really wordy and like kind of like Dylan-y, like word vomit stuff. I can sometimes get stuck in that, and trying to pack as many ideas into as many lines as possible, like that confused pretender song and stuff like that. And then just being around Sean, he has such a great grasp of like economy of words, or like he's succinct. Like he packs these really intense emotions and feelings um into very few words, which is really hard to do. Um yeah, he's clever without ever trying to show off. And I think sometimes in my writing I've gotten a little show offy where I'm like, look at me, look what I can do, look what I can write, I'm such a good writer, like please pay attention to me, I can write. And then with the band stuff, I had just kind of started writing these songs that are a little, I was already starting to try and get better at using fewer words to get my point across and like cutting the fat out of songs. And then with the band stuff, there's just no room for it. And serious, dude, you know Admiral Akbar from Star Wars,
No, I can't.
the alien guy that rides in the spaceship with Han Solo.
Okay, yeah.
That's what this guy looks like. He looks just like Admiral Akbar. No, what are you doing, buddy? He's such a dumb dog. Um, but I love him. Anyway, yeah. So I started writing simpler. Simpler was not even the right word, but just more uh, conscious of like what my words are saying and trying to express the feeling rather than trying to show off my writing skills, which has been really cool and kind of led me down some different paths. I've been getting stuck this year on like one artist or album at a time and just listening to way too much of it. beating it into the ground. I was on a big Billie Holiday, the
Yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah. I read a book about her. I just got stuck on her shit for like a good month and a half. And then in November I was trying to ignore my feelings in October and November. And so Jill, my manager, and I were touring a lot, just the two of us, and then Sean, and we got on a big replacements kick. Listened to way too much replacements. I could probably never hear it again and know every note and word, but yeah, and just kind of trying to take those influences without ripping them off. I was listening to a lot of R&B and soul stuff this year. Those guys, like the guys that were writing for Stax Records and Motown not as much, but them too. But Stax, like the Otis Redding, um, all that, and the Chess Record stuff, like Etta James, Muddy Waters, they get so much across to you, so much emotion in like the simplest writing ever. Like something told me it was over when I saw you and him walking. Like that song is so simple on paper.
Yeah.
It just leaves so much room for the vocals to go and get right through to you. Like when Otis Redding sings, they call me Mr. Pitiful. That's how I got my name. Like you feel that shit. And
Yeah.
it's not some shit they're gonna teach you in an English class. It's just real fucking rock and roll blues shit. And you feel it. Like when you hear that stuff, it leaves a lot more room than, me trying to go, well, Taylor into New Orleans, like, throwing so much. Ben Todd is also really good at that. He's really good at keeping his writing like some. It's not simple, is not the right word, but um, less wordy. He's really great at getting a lot of emotion. Like that "Using Again" song that everyone loves so much is like that song doesn't overload you or bombard you with information. It's really to the point. It's really direct, but there's an art and a craft in the way that it's put together where it just leaves so much room for the melody to like hit you in the gut when he's like feeling low down and I'm using again. It just fucking hits you right
Yeah.
there, and
It's
it's
so
not
basic, but
because he, yeah,
heavy.
see, that's not the right word either. I don't know
I
what the
know
word
it.
is.
I'm not like downplaying, you know what I mean? But
Economical maybe, or like efficient. It's efficient. The writing is efficient,
efficient. Yeah.
and it just like it gets the job done, and there's no extra bullshit on it. And I've really been struggling and working at that this year, which is, I mean, my notebooks are full of really wordy shit and then just scratches through lines. And then I've gotten a lot better at editing myself and like letting go of, I don't know. I used to be like, if I got a really good lyric, like one bar that was really good and like really poetic, I would have such a hard time removing it and like being like, objectively, this line is not doing anything for the song. It's just making me look like a good writer. And and I kind of I've practiced a lot giving that up and just going, am I getting the point across the way that I want to get it across? Which I don't know. You read about a lot of great songwriters when they get older. When they're young, stuff just like comes to them naturally and like almost magically. And then like Dylan talks about it a lot that like when he was in his 20s, those lyrics just like poured out of him. And it was just, there was no like really even method to it. It just like boom, boom, boom. And there's so much energy in you when you're like in your 20s that it's like all
Yeah.
those songs that are on volume one and on a lot of the ones on short stories and everything I was putting out for years are like, they just came really easily. And as I've gotten older, I think the Dylan quote is that what came to me without any work when I was young, I had to do a lot of work to get to as an older man. And I'm not an older man by any stretch, but yeah, I was having that challenge of like, I can still have stuff come to me, but I've already written those songs. Like, I don't want to be writing about what I was doing when I was 27 and on heroin anymore. Like, it's not what I'm living. I don't mind singing those songs.
Right.
They mean a lot to me, and they've meant different things to me over the years. But I'm just not. It doesn't feel real, like coming out of me when that's like I was writing those songs again and again, and then I hit a breakthrough with all the like R&B and rock and roll stuff where I was like, how do I do this? And then that just started coming out of me. And then the breakup stuff, I have a whole other record that's I'll probably put out in the winter time. We got to do a lot more work on it, but I have a really like sensitive singer-songwriter record that's like a crazy breakup album called Desolator. Um, like desolation, but desolator. And I think that's going to come out probably in November, December, but we'll see. We're like talking to a bunch of labels right now. And my manager, Joe's just killing the business side of things and figuring all of these things out that I'm not capable of figuring out. And, because I'm an artist, like I'm just like, yeah, you're gonna give me money to put out a record. That sounds great. And then he's like, that's not enough money. Like you gotta he's like, you need to know your worth a little bit better. But yeah, so that's also been I mean, Joe came into my life probably right after the last time we talked and quit his $250,000 a year job to manage me, which is, I'm not saying he made the right decision, but he's definitely not making that much with me. Not even probably not even five figures, but yeah, and he was like, "Trust me, give me a year, and in a year we'll reassess it." And he's been like a huge blessing in my life. Just I'm so bad at the business stuff, and I'll play a show where like the promoter said we'll pay you this amount, and then after the show, the bar owner or whoever it is like, "Man, we didn't make as much as we thought we were gonna make. Like, are you okay if I just give you $800?" And if it's me by myself, I'm like, dude, don't worry about it. Like that's all good. And then having Joe, I mean, he does everything. Like he fucking changes my strings. When I break a string, he comes and grabs the guitar. He changes the string backstage. By the next song, I have a new string. And yeah, he's just fucking incredible.
That's awesome.
And now I don't have to worry about that shit as much, which has just freed me up to think about the writing stuff so much more.
Yeah, you can actually, you know, totally immerse yourself in the art side of things and
Yeah,
producing
and I've gotten
good content.
just from that just from that extra freedom and time, I've gotten leagues better as a guitar player. I mean, I barely ever play. I used to play electric a lot when I was young, and I can play lead all right at the beginning of this year, but then just having the extra time to not just be worried about writing songs, but let me like play my ass off. The repetition just like has massively helped. I'm really excited to take this band on the road because I'm soloing, I'm doing a whole new thing, and it's like feels really. I mean, the 12-year-old inside of me that loved Hendrix and Stevie Ray Vaughan, and I mean, I was a blues freak when I was a kid, like in classic rock, but a lot of blues. I mean, I listened to Muddy Waters when I was like 8, and it just
Yeah,
like changed my life.
I love all that shit, man.
Yeah, me
You
too.
mentioned
And
so much, like I felt like I was the only one at my age in college, or even when I was like in college, like who else out here is fucking playing Etta James right now?
yeah, or like
You know
even
what?
George Jones and stuff, and like I mean,
Yeah,
the great thing about the great artists, like the greatest artists, they have a lot of range. Even sometimes it doesn't feel that way because they all sound like that artist. But like Etta James has
Whew.
some of the craziest range of material. Like she has straight up blues songs. She has ballads that like will make you cry. I mean, all of it will make you cry. But then she has, party songs, wedding songs, like everything. And fucking that's what humans do. We feel the entire breadth of emotion. And like I don't know. I also feel like this year things started to pick up a lot more as I was touring more and like making way more progress in my career than I have. And now I'm not famous by any means, but I'm a lot more well known. And I think people have this like impression of me that I'm like a really sad fuck. And I'm just so not. Like I have bipolar disorder and I go through these swings But a lot of the time, I'm just here in the middle, and I experience happiness and sadness all the time. And like my music, you would never know that. You would just be like this lady who had seen me. She's seen me probably like 9 times. She's an older woman. She's great. She's in Fort Worth, and she came to see me at a festival in October, whenever it was, in Texas, and we talked for a while. And she was like, every time I hear your music, I just worry about you. And when I see you in real life, I'm not that worried about you. But when I hear you all the time, I'm just like, Jesus, he's in so much pain. And like, even this year, there's been a lot of hard stuff, um, real grown up stuff that I've had to deal with and address on a personal level and be angry about and be remorseful about, all kinds of shit. And I still like have laughed through the whole thing. Like, and I'm sure having a daughter, having a child, like has a big, you don't really have time to just go full tilt depression.
Yeah.
But, but I'm like, I'm not who I was when I was writing all that sad shit. Like, I still have sad songs in me, but I know that's like, I've expressed this a few times in conversation with people, especially fans that are like not excited about that. They're like, we like your sad songs. I'm like, I like them too. They're still there. I'll
Yeah,
still
they're
play them.
still out there, man. Go listen to it again.
And I'm still going to be playing them. But it's like, yeah, it's not creatively stimulating for me to just continue, you know, to just continue writing the same fucking song over again. I'm just like, man, you're nothing but a drug addict and your life sucks and everything's so hard. And I was
Right.
doing that last year. I was starting to break out of writing about myself, like that Just Friends song. I'm really proud of that song. But that's not about me at all. There's little pieces of me in it, but it's not, I'm not, I never screwed a chick who has gray hair. I never had an affair with a chick with gray hair who died. But yeah, even that, like, have all these other emotions that need to, and love songs and songs about fall in love, which like, I think most of my sad songs over the years are really about drugs and addiction and losing
Yeah.
friends, death, and but I also, I'm a lover. I I love to be in love. I've been in love, and yeah, and that's like that stuff can come out. It's really funny. It was so hard for me to write songs about losing love or finding love. I don't know why it's so much easier for me and comfortable for me to just write about being homeless or like on heroin or whatever it is, or just being a drunk. It's like way more challenging for me to like express myself. Maybe that's a man thing, but it's definitely a thing, whatever it is. I'm definitely, every woman I've ever been with will tell you that I have a hard time expressing I can express any emotion easily except love. um, but yeah, I don't know what that is. Maybe childhood trauma. But I've been doing a lot of work on it on a personal level and on a writing level this year, which has just unlocked a lot of different shit. I even have a song about a UFO sighting on the album.
Ah,
Yeah, I didn't see the UFO, but it happened in 1951. But there's a famous UFO sighting that the entire town of Lubbock saw in 1951 called the Lubbock Lights. And there's a lot of conjecture over whether or not it was a government experiment, which seems like it has to have been. The government's official take was that it was the new streetlights that had just been installed reflecting off of the bottoms of the wings of birds. That's what they claim. But everyone that was there, the whole city, there's pictures of the whole city of Lubbock was lit up with these weird things, lights moving through the sky. And and I don't know why. I was like driving through Lubbock, which I try not to do.
Thinking
And
about that.
and I was listening to an audiobook where they talked about these Lubbock lights as I was driving through Lubbock. And I was like, that's weird. Like I got to this part in the book while I was like 20 miles from Lubbock. And then when you leave Lubbock, there's like maybe like 15 strip clubs on the other side of Lubbock when you're going through town. And I guess that's where all that stuff ended up at. Like there was some weird stuff that happened to the soil out there and shit after these Lubbock lights. And so I was just driving. They're all on the outskirts of town for like 30 miles of strip clubs. And I was just driving by the strip clubs, writing a song in my head and, and going,
That's
yeah,
why
don't.
I love what you're always up to or doing. Music wise, like I feel like you're very creative and talented, and you're not worried to like step out of a box that people might pitch you in. You should sound like this or do this, and you're always just like, bam, bam, I'm doing this and that.
I'm
It's
really actively
I can't
trying
wait
to
to hear
not
what
do that.
shit you're gonna send me next.
Well, I think like once people become successful, which I'm not, I'm still like working. And when people like get successful with one thing, then they're kind of their audience now loves
Yeah,
that thing and they're kind of stuck in that box. So I'm really trying to like view not being famous or not being a headliner or whatever, not being any of these things yet. I'm trying to view that as like a gift that like I have this opportunity to make whatever I want so that if I do become successful, God willing, uh, then I can do whatever I want. I'm not going to start rapping anytime soon, but like I have a, people will go, oh yeah, he does all of these things. He's not just the guy. And like, I think Matt Heckler, I don't know if you've heard the record he's been working on.
yeah. Well,
He really
I guess
like,
he put a whole nother one out too. That he sent me a record that hasn't
yeah,
been
yeah.
released yet, and I think he was already on to the next thing too or
Oh
something.
yeah,
I
he's
don't
on it.
remember.
But he's doing the same. He's got this desire to not just be Lost Dog Jr. or like not to put words in his mouth, but or just not be just like guy with a fiddle singing about the Civil War. Like he wants to do that too, but he wants to be able to have the freedom. Like he's kind of found this new voice, this new like phrasing thing that he's doing. Like being on tour with him was like incredible. Every night he's doing I mean his set would just go through this crazy variety of voices. It all sounds like Matt, but he has this softer voice that he's kind of discovered that's really really pretty and able to get a whole different emotion across than he does a similar thing to me a lot where he's screaming or being super loud. And yeah, it's really cool to see him doing that too. And I guess Lost Dog's doing the same thing. Like a lot of the artists I'm around, Sean is one of the most talented people I've ever known. Not just on a writing level, but he understands how to be subtle with his voice, which is something I'm still not a master of. But he has this ability to just go like, I don't need to be loud on this song. I don't need to be like angry. Like I need to sit back and let my words or just a more flat vocal delivery do the talking. Kind of like Jim Croce. If you ever listen to that stuff, he does a real
Yeah.
similar thing where his voice, he never goes full bore. Maybe on some of the blues songs, like working at the car wash and shit, he's like, "Oh, walking at the car wash." But when he does like ballads, Jim Croce, like if I had written "Time in a Bottle," I'm sure I'd be like real loud, like "Time in a Bottle." But instead, Jim Croce's going like, "If I could keep time in a bottle," which Sean is a master of that shit too. He's
Yeah. To even think like I don't know, me growing up on like punk and hardcore and metal, I always want, you know, some edge to my shit. So when people are
yeah,
singing, there's got to be some roughness there that draws me.
yeah. Which I think
And
like
if you
I
can
think all the
taper
people
play with both lines, it's really good.
I think all the people I just named have like that. There's still an edginess. Like Lost Dog, I don't think anyone will ever accuse Lost Dog of being smooth. Um,
No.
like Ben sings. He sings the way he sings, and he has all of the years of all the shit he's been through, everything he's learned about singing, everything he's learned about expressing himself is coming through. No matter what it is, as long as the material is strong. Like, same with Matt. Like Sean too. Sean is, funny too. He's never been a drug addict. And he's like the one person the one musician I'm around a lot, him and my drummer, are like, but Sean as a songwriter, like, has a totally different well that he draws on of like, and he writes sad songs too, and they're just not about doing drugs. They're just about love and parents and family, and they affect me just as deeply, if not more deeply, than like all of these, friends that I have that write these drugged out or drunken or whatever
You should,
traveler hobo ballads, and like
yeah.
they're just as meaningful. And I also have emotions that are not about drugs and whatever. It was, yeah. I fucking wrote
Uh,
this song about my daughter the day that I started writing it when she was when we went to the hospital to have her, and that it was just like one line, love won't let me be. That was all I had. And then like over the course of the day I got a chorus, and then it took me like 6 more months, and one day I was just like I would sing this thing to myself all the time, like love won't let me be. It's all that I see staring back at me. And then I would just sing that all the time whenever I looked at my daughter. I'm like, fucking, I love this kid. And then when I was driving a truck, I would just like hum that melody, and then finally got the rest of the song. And then it's really like R&B soul kind of thing. And yeah, I mean, I guess half the songs on the record coming up are, which we're releasing an EP first in March, right before South by Southwest.
Oh, nice.
With a I mean, every song on the EP is pretty vastly different from the others. And then the album, hopefully we'll find a label to put it out over South by, and actually promote it. Where we just hired a publicist, which has been, I mean, they're great so far, but it's hard to know what you're spending money on in the music business.
Yeah.
And you spend, tons of money on something that may or may not work, because that's how music works. It's a gamble. You can put as much work into something, but if people don't connect with it, then who knows? But hopefully, we find a label to put this record out, or the right label to put this record out, by midsummer, and then hopefully we go to the label. We've been talking to a few of them, and just going like, hey, we have this one done, but we have a whole other record that's like almost done that we want to put out in the winter. So it'd be really nice if we could get someone to put it out by like June. But I don't know if that's, I don't, I'm still learning as I go with the music business, especially this is my first. I had like a brief publishing deal some years ago that I fucked up. And then I had like a record label that I was in talks with before COVID. And then we all know what I did during COVID. Uh, turned into a complete lunatic and blew it. But
Uh,
uh, this is like my first go around being cognizant and clear minded, going into that and really trying to learn. I mean, I guess that's really what's changed this year is I went into this last year, um, just trying to have an attitude of like, whatever happens, sometimes you're going to go on tour and you're not going to make any money. You're going to blow two tires in one tour and you're going to be broke. Um, or maybe you'll break even, but like everything, or maybe, maybe my daughter gets a rash and it's because I used the wrong technique for wiping her ass or whatever it is. Every opportunity is everything that happens that's out of your control is an opportunity to learn. And then I started taking that into music, into like writing, performing, instead of, I mean, I guess I still beat myself up when I play a bad show, which half the time people don't even, I think I played like the worst show of my life and people don't even notice, which is also maybe more frustrating because you're like, why am I putting all this work in? But like
just
even that,
half-ass it every night. It's be fine.
yeah, and maybe like when I play a bad show, I think I've taken it like, well, maybe I shouldn't eat McDonald's an hour before I play,
That
or
will do it.
whatever it is. There's always a learning experience. Or maybe when my voice is having a tough time, I sing a different song than this one, um, which has just been. I mean, trying to view things as opportunities seems to be working a lot better for me than being angry about everything. I used to
Yeah.
get my old the way I used to be with music was just really, I mean, maybe that's just being younger too. I just really, I thought I knew it all already. And I had a really hard time opening myself up to learning new stuff if it came from places I didn't want to learn it from. Um, and I just beat myself up really badly and I got really frustrated. Like, even, I mean, I realize even maybe just this is fatherhood, but even before I had Willow, um, I would like be putting together IKEA furniture and just lose my fucking mind. Like
Yeah,
when one screw was wrong or one thing
was
didn't go the
missing.
way I had a problem that I couldn't solve. It was really hard for me to calm myself down enough to even like work on a solution, and I would just fucking throw a fit like a little boy. That stuff is kind of. I mean, I obviously still have a temper, but I don't carry it around with me all the time, which is I think been good for the music. So I'm really excited to show people the stuff. It's really different than anything you've heard me do before. So I'm
Hell yeah.
excited. I'm hoping that that's a good thing and not a bummer. But if people don't want to listen to me anymore, that's fine. They've been not listening to me for forever. Do it.
Yeah. I mean, I think I told, well, you saw it online after that Monarch show a month or two ago or whatever. That was actually the first time I actually finally got to see you
Yeah,
live. And
that was a good show. That place fucking rules. I can't
I love
sing
that
the praises
place.
of that place enough. That was an incredible venue. Thanks for hooking that up. Those guys. The only thing I regret is we stayed after and we watched that awful Mike Tyson fight
Yeah.
with the staff. That's my only regret. I deeply regret staying there because now I think of that place and I immediately, the first thought I have, it takes me another two thoughts to get past. I was so depressed watching that Mike Tyson fight. It was extremely upsetting. And I wish that I didn't have that memory of it in my mind, but that place fucking rules.
Yeah.
What a great venue.
Yeah. But that night, though, like that being the first time I'm seeing you live, I think you just have this ability to captivate people. Um,
That's
and I
kind.
think I think that comes through too, or that will come through with full band stuff. That's what I'm assuming, obviously.
I think
But
it will too.
I
We've
mean,
got a good vibe, and I think if anything, it'll probably be shocking for people to see me having fun on stage. I don't think I've had
good.
fun playing a show. I mean, there's like little moments of it between the songs, or like maybe on Mosquito Ditch, or like some of the more bluesy stuff. But I generally am not having fun usually when I'm like singing about all that really deep dark stuff and like to get into the place to sing the songs the right way, like where I feel like people are getting their money's worth. I have to like switch on like when I play paper ships, I just have to go like boom and I just visualize my buddy's face and other friends that have passed and it's like a really heavy thing and there's something really special about that, but
Yeah.
I need a
Too
break.
much of it is, yeah.
Yeah, and I need it, and it's kind of the only thing I knew how to do for a while was like write like that because writing was like this therapeutic thing, and then I started going to real therapy and not having to exercise all those demons on paper or out loud on stage. But I'm excited for people to get a different picture of what my life is like. It's still not all good or all pretty, but it's definitely it has a groove. Groove in my real life. Now this record, I think, is just full of grooves. Dude, wait till there's these two
Dude,
songs.
you're gonna have to send me some shit as soon as we
I'll
hang
send you
off
some
this
shit
call.
tonight when we get off. When we get off, I'll send you some stuff. There's two songs that are from the perspective of a pimp named Fillmore, who's kind of like a composite character of these two different pimps that I knew. One who's older and kind of I mean he wasn't as ridiculous as the song makes him sound, but he did the like rhyming thing. He was like an older guy that hung out on Harry Hines in Dallas and he did the whole like he drove like a fucking town car and like did the whole like if you say it ain't like all that shit the fucking the pimp named Slipback chick and then this other dude I knew who was younger. He was like maybe he's probably only 2 years older than me, but I don't know for sure, but I think he's passed on now. But he used to talk like kind of the modern version of that. He was in LA and was also a pimp by trade. And then I wrote these songs that are like I was writing blues songs, and I just like wanted an excuse to play this riff on both of them. It's a real like cool riff, and so I just wrote these two songs that are like basically the pimp talking. Like one of them is like, he came in like cold chain Roscoe P. Diamonds on my necklace, 10K on my teeth. Dressed to impress in the burgundy leather. Cooler and tough. Whatever. They're like, it's like
Yeah,
pimp talk though. Over
yeah,
blues, over blues stuff, which is like so much fucking fun.
yeah. That's gonna be sick.
Hopefully
My
every
brother's
woman
gonna love that shit. By the way,
who is
my brother.
Oh hell yeah! Unfortunately, I think every woman I've played the first one for is like thinks I'm talking about myself. Like there's a line in the first one where I'm like, uh, I'm talking about a bitch in the backseat, and like there's another line where I'm like, I never let a hoe trick me out of my position, and I think that uh, hopefully when they see it on a record or on Spotify and it says Fillmore's Blues Part One and Fillmore's Blues Part Two,
Be like Phil Moore, not me, Casper.
yeah, they know that I'm not. But it also is so much fun to say pimp shit. Pimps have an awful job, but what a great lingo. Their lingo is just unfucking believable. If that was like a football announcer, it would be way cooler. Like maybe not as cool, but it would not sound as offensive. But
Yeah.
it's kind of I don't know. I was listening. I've been mixing stuff. This cigarette will not stay lit. We've been mixing stuff this week, like listening over all the tracks and adding stuff to them in the studio in Denver. And I realized like there's some moments on this record where it kind of sounds like gangster rap, but it's like gangster blues. And I'm totally fine with it, but it's definitely interesting coming out of a white boy.
Wait,
You
don't you
know,
have the? Don't you have that? What was that? Was it a T-shirt that says Casper Allen's not a rapper? Or
I used to have Casper
yeah,
Allen's
yeah,
not a rapper shirts because they look kind of like a SoundCloud rapper for a period there with
yeah,
the face tattoos and everything. They're
yeah.
starting to fade a little bit now. Like I don't think they're quite. I guess they're still pretty big, but they're they're starting to fade a little. And like when the lights are bright like this, you don't really see them that close up, but
The
maybe you
glint.
do.
This, yeah. If you don't want them, just have a hot light on you. Blare and
Yeah,
blast
that's
them.
right.
One thing I do want to make sure I ask you, is there any talks or ideas about having volume one back on vinyl available for
There's
folks?
another pressing on the way right now. We're the
Good.
manufacturer is a little bit late, but we sold out of the first pressing pretty quick, and then or I guess it was technically the second pressing because the first pressing never happened. But yeah, we sold out of that one a lot faster than I thought, and then we should have another batch. I mean, they were supposed to be here by Christmas, but they still haven't come. So I'm waiting on a manufacturer to finish that, and then we'll have them on the road. And I think we have like 29 orders that are unfulfilled right now. That'll be fulfilled as soon as we get those, which has been vinyl. This is why I want a label. I just a small indie label. Like they have the relationship with the vinyl manufacturers and with Spotify and with all these. Like
There's
there's
so
a
much
block.
shit.
Yeah, there's just a block in access, and I'm sure if I was as big as Lost Dog, it wouldn't matter, but I'm not. And I don't know. I learned so much from touring with those guys and just being friends with them and watching their whole come up. Um, I mean, props to Ben and Ashley and Dan over at Anticorp. They were just beating their head against a wall, and then it just all the hard work just paid off finally. And they have new struggles and new problems that they have to deal with now, but it was so inspiring to see someone like that like they have the best songs, the great live show, all this soul, but they're not what the zeitgeist or like the public was looking for at the time. And then they just kept doing it. And finally, it fucking broke through, and they were in a position where they had spent all this time with the repetition. They knew how to fucking play, they knew how to write, they knew how to tour, they knew the business. And so when the opportunities finally came for them, they had created those opportunities themselves, and they were or themselves, and they were prepared to like do it, you know, and they just fucking did it. And like seeing them like on the dates I did with them this year, like
Yeah.
filling up Kane's Ballroom is not an easy thing to do. And I grew up going to shows there, and it's fucking so inspiring that this dude and his wife and his friend that have been, you know, Jeff, they've all been with the band for so long. Fucking, it's such a fucking inspiration to like see that and where that can go. And that, you know, I think even if you had asked me 5 years ago, 6 years ago, where I thought the ceiling for Lost Dog was, or for Ben, I probably would have told you that like there was no way they would get huge. There's no way they would, you know, be just because of the way the industry works or whatever. But they really taught me, just being around them and watching them and knowing them, taught me so much about like just sheer fucking willpower and like belief in what you're doing will outweigh all the rest of the shit if you just fucking keep working at it. And like when I quit playing music in 2020, I don't know why I hadn't learned that lesson yet or hadn't taken it to heart, but yeah, what a fucking awesome story, those guys.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
they had
and
a fucking hell of a year. That's for sure.
yeah, and
2024 is in the books for them.
yeah, and it's just, and Ben also, I think like I know he's a really divisive personality on the internet or wherever, but he believes in the shit that he's saying, and like I will take that even if I disagree with someone about XYZ. I'll take someone who believes what they're doing and believes in what they're doing over someone who's just going through the motions any fucking day of the week. Like, you can say a lot of things about Ben, but you just cannot say that he's not himself, which is uh,
Yes.
a testament because I'm sure like anyone in the music business will tell him to like, or would tell him like, yo, chill out, or don't do this, or like, don't talk about God. You might not, you might alienate listeners or whatever. And he's just like, fuck that. Like, yeah, I learned so much from those dudes and from Matt Heckler and you know, Sierra, watching her come up is they're all different and they but the one common denominator is that they all really strongly believe in what it is that they're doing and they all work their fucking asses off. Like I don't even know. I saw Sierra in November when we were in Nashville or whenever that was. And I think she was like flying out the next morning. And I was like, are you ever not working? Like, um, yeah, it's just, I mean, you just can't stop doing it. It's all about the work. And even like with the band stuff, there's been challenges, there's been beautiful moments, but like the beautiful moments are so much sweeter than the challenges because I worked my fucking ass off. And it's like, you know, as long as I have that, I know that I worked my. Did you just kill a bird? What is this from? Where'd you get this feather, dude? Look at this dog right now. Can I turn this around? Is there a way to turn this around? Yeah, this dog Hank. What did you do? What is this feather from?
He ate it.
Bloody feather. Where did this come from?
He looks guilty as fuck.
Did you eat a bird? Can I smell your breath? Oh, dude. Oh my God. That's awful. Well, my dog just killed a bird. I don't know how that happened, or maybe the bird was dead. Yeah, but fun, fun, fun.
Yeah. Well, man, I won't keep you any longer. That's great hearing what's to come and what your plans and future is with all this. It's always good to catch up, and I'm
I'm
pumped
super
about
excited.
hell. I'll see you February 6th at Duke's Indy, and that's Hayden's birthday. We're gonna
Yes,
have
it
to get
is.
him a cake, I guess, or something.
I don't. Does Hayden deserve a cake? I don't know. You could probably get him a pack of Lucky Strikes, and he would be happier with that than a cake.
I'm thinking like a little cupcake with a Lucky Strike cigarette stuck in it. There you go.
I think we'll get him some kind of cake. He does deserve it. It's funny. The last time we were playing shows was his 1 year sobriety date, and this time is his
Hell,
what?
that was the Louisville show.
Yeah, and this
Yeah,
one is what, like his 12th birthday. Is that?
it seems like it.
Yeah, we'll get him a cake and we'll have a good old time. I love Indy. It's been a long time since I've played there.
Yeah.
But I love the Midwest. The Midwest it's one of my favorite places to play shows because there might not be as many people as California or the South, or Texas at least. I don't know about the rest of the South, but people engage. They really listen there. Like we played in Chicago right after that Louisville date, and it was like by far one of the best shows I've ever played. And it was just people were just tuned in. They came to see the show. They shut the fuck up and they listened. And we'll see how this one goes. I'll have the band with me, so maybe people won't shut the fuck up, but they'll dance, and that will be. I mean, it's not two-step in music, but it's definitely like that kind of vibe. So, all
Slick
right,
up the
well, it's
floor.
great catching up. I'll send you some track here in a minute.
All right, buddy.
All
Take
right,
care, and we'll see you soon.
I'll try. We'll see you in February, man. Have a good one.
Bye.